Okay, so another live stream of painting Loralei from Super Fantasy Brawl with Contrast Paints. Looking forward to this one. It's a great character to play and a great character to hopefully paint as well. Seen some fantastic paint jobs so far on social media, so it's going to be fun to give her a go. First of all, I wanted to just thank the community really, because managed to reach 200 subscribers this morning, which is, I never thought I'd do that this soon. Had a kind of 1 year plan of maybe hitting a few hundred, would have been good. But to get 200 this soon after starting the channel, I only really started the channel properly in June, I want to say June, and it really was quite a slow burner as I was trying out many different games and just solo games, and then it was really when I started doing the painting videos that it really started to hit off. It seemed that's what people wanted to see. Now I'm not going to leave behind playthroughs and solo work, solo game modes and all the rest of it. That will still go ahead 100%, but I'm very keen to do the painting a fair amount. So just want to thank the community really for 200 subscribers. I will endeavour to keep content flowing as best I can, and hopefully I've upgraded back up to 1080p for this live stream. I really hope it does stay stable, but it's very likely that it may not. I just noticed that the drop down to 720p actually made quite a bit of difference. I wasn't really happy with the quality of that, so fingers crossed it will stay secure. I mean, I'm doing this late enough that hopefully it will do, and then we'll see how we go. So Loralei, I'm going to need to do a bit of base touch up with the Rathbone underneath, because we've got some areas with, especially under her tentacles, her hair tentacles, but we're talking a lot of greens in this paint job, which is going to be nice. We're going to be using obviously the medium. We're going to be using our different greens we've got. I did actually order in some new contrast paints, so I've got a second batch. If you remember, I was talking about having a bit of money come through from a birthday, effectively, from my board game mates for a Warhammer shop. So I managed to spend about £25 on paints, which is good. New lead voucher, retribution armor, which I've never used before, and I saw how good it is as a gold, so that might be quite useful to use. We'll see, certainly in the future. And some different tones, including another purple, I believe. I can't remember what I ordered now, but increasing my range of contrast paints, because I really am liking them as we're going. I also managed to get, I've got a decent amount of Lord of the Rings strategy battle game. So I got some dwarves. Dwarves have always been a favourite of mine in the fantasy realm, and especially with Tolkien's world. So I thought, yeah, I've got to go with that. So we've got Durin, and a bunch of dwarf warriors, which I will be painting on this channel as well, just to see a slight different with not so bigger scale miniatures, and see how that goes as well. Awesome. Right, so let's zoom in and get onto the painting. So, as per always, going in with the Series 7 size 0 brush for pretty much the vast majority of this paint job. We're going to start with the Wraithbone base as per normal, making sure that we've just got that little bit underneath covered. So again, as always, let's move a bit of water onto that paint. And just go in here. Now this has really had no spray at all. Even the base paint's struggling to. Now I'm going to have to change the setup of this because this camera is really in the way. she's got such nice rich green tones to her palette that that's why I want to get these. These undersides painted. That will do, I think. Oh, we just need to do a little bit more paint. We just need to do the worm. What she rides around. I guess it's a worm. Is it a worm? A worm. I don't know. Whatever it is. Let's give this a bit of paint just to make sure, because the greens aren't really strong colours, so we want to make sure that we're getting a good coverage of the paint. Let's go in under here as well. Definitely the head. Okay. I'll do. Right, so we're going to move on to think about the colours. And we're going to put the light on so we can actually see what we're doing, which is always worth doing. Hey Chris, good evening. Well, if you're in the UK like me, good evening, or very late evening. Yeah, I absolutely love the silver under these contrast paints. That is the best effect that it does. So I'm really glad you like the effect, and it's worked out well for you too. That's really good news. Look at these colours. This is going to be an interesting one to do. That's quite a good one. Just to see simply the colours on her. I love the cartoony art of Loralei. Okay. So I'm thinking these two, the winding paths, and which I'll use as the reference art. Okay, it's in the US, so I'm alright with saying evening. Cool. Okay. Right. What a model. Again, I am very aware that I say this every single model I paint. Oh, so good. I really appreciate the fact that the eyebrows are actually moulded on. That's so cool. She's riding this worm that's flying through the forest. Oh, so good. Two-tailed. It's got two tails. First time I noticed that as well. Awesome. Okay. Anyway. So, let's start with... So we're looking for a very light kind of yellow green for her, some darker green for the leaf armour, some bright green for the kind of leaf effects. We're looking for the same reasonably bright green for the worm, as it were, some yellow for the flowers. So I think, to be honest, as I normally do, I want to kind of start with the lightest colours first, so I might start with the yellows just to get a Yandan yellow on today. Think about the snake dragon making mine a different green, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I do like to go with the card art, so I think I'm not really sure what. Yeah, I think it's got kind of like, you see here, it's got kind of like an over part, which is just like a covering, a forest covering, and an under part, and they are slightly different tones to her. So I think it'll be the snake dragon, should we call it the worm, will be a more darker green compared to her, so that she stands out a bit more, maybe. We'll soon find out. So, going straight in with a Yandan yellow. This is nice and easy. This is literally just Iyanden yellow on all of the flower. We don't have to mess around with different colours of the petals or the inside of the flower itself or anything like that. And I do love Iyanden yellow. I think it could possibly be, alongside the white, the best contrast paint. Just because it's so hard to do yellow normally. I know you got yellow washes that do a very similar thing, but they never come out as good as this, I find. So yeah, I kind of got back into back interested into Lord of the Rings SBG. I know the beard will be pleased to hear that. And it's such a good game. And I'm just thinking about in the future when, fingers crossed, we can get back to our friendly local game store or wargaming stores or whatever it might be. I would quite like to get playing that again, especially now they brought out Nazreg Contrast is great as well. Oh, okay. Again, I know you said there's plenty of these contrast paints, Chris. But I am extending my range. But I'm just going to do mixing. If I need to use different colours, I think I'm just going to mix them. I don't think I need to. Looking at the whole range, because I could afford more, but I just felt like I didn't need any more than the colours that I'm now going to get. Hopefully. And I think what I'll be keen to try is the retribution, to get a really, really bright gold, and this may not work, but it's to get the retribution armor and replace that with so replace the lead belcher with retribution armor, so that you've kind of got a gold base instead of a silver, and then you put the Iyanden yellow over the top of it. That'd be an interesting one to see if we can get that really, really bright gold, because lead belcher with Iyanden yellow is a really nice gold look, but it's relatively dull. It's not super dull, but it's relatively dull. It's not super bright gold. So that'd be really interesting to try. This yellow is so good. Right, what about her yellow parts? She's got one here. Oh, there's one down there I missed. Now that Super Fancy Brawl has started to deliver to most people, it's really, really picking up a good following, as we knew it would do, because it's such a good game. But now we just need that organised play scene now, really, to really set it home when we can do. Okay, so that's the yellow flowers done. Also, remember I use the Warp Lightning Green for the grass. Now, there's no harm in things looking the same. In fact, I kind of want them to, because I'd imagine she would have the same kind of green as camouflage, perhaps, to be one with her nature. Right, okay, let's move on to some mixing. So we're looking at doing her skin, her effective skin next. So that's Iyanden yellow and military green. I think that's going to be a classic combination with a bit of medium chucked in there as well. So here we go with Militarian Green. But yeah, even better if you got all the different paints, which, you know, a lot of people do with normal paints as well. They don't mix as much. They prefer to have the different shades done for them, which is absolutely, if you can afford it, I mean, that's even better. The less you have to mix pigments, I guess, yourself, the better your colours will get, I presume. But in a way, I kind of quite like the process of mixing paints. Since doing it about halfway through these SFB models, I've really enjoyed it. I was about to put it in the water then. Right, so this is the green we're looking at. So that needs to be, that needs to be a bit lighter. So we're going to use the medium to get this a little bit of a lighter shade. About 3 brushes of that should do the trick. Yeah, nice. So you can see how the medium, I don't know if you can. So you see how the medium makes it lighter? Right, here goes then. Now the spikes are grey, so I'm probably best to try and not go over that. As well as the eyes. It should all now be dry, of course. Don't want to give her too much pooling around the face. Yep, I'm happy with that. That colour looks good. Yeah, I feel like just mixing colours is kind of naturally, because I come from a traditional painting, you know, like oil paintings and watercolour paintings. That's kind of where I started before miniature painting, and that's what I was used to, and I quite like that idea of mixing the colours to get exactly what you want. Try to anyway. Not too fussed about actually getting on those spikes that much, because ultimately the green will give it a good base tone, although I kind of want to get, yeah, I'm not too fussed. Now there are some mould lines here, but I'm not too fussed about them. Oops. Also, be careful not to leave your, I guess it's pretty obvious, but be careful not to leave your contrast paints in direct sunlight. I did do it once, and the silicon and grey and my black Templar, they turned really dirty. Like when you put them on, they were horrible. I think they basically just dried up. So just be careful where you store your paints and try and keep them out of direct sunlight. Yeah, it's looking like a nice colour. Okay, so try and not get the paint on those spikes as best I can, because I want the true colour to be the grey. And then do I go with Basilicon or do I go with Griff Charger? I haven't decided yet. I think the blue might be a bit too clashy in terms of colours. So I think a Basilicon and grey will be probably my best bet for that. And again, if I get this colour over other parts of Loralei, it's not a massive problem because I'm just going to go in with darker green anyway. Ideally, I don't want it everywhere, but it's not a huge problem. Ooh. Need to get in there. Yeah, that's looking good. That's fine. Right, our arms are the same. There's a bit of tentacle. Should you call it hair or tentacles? I don't really know. Vines, I guess. Her vines. Hey. How's it going, K-Smith? Right. Hang on. Oh no, come on, Tom. Right, I know it's not Kevin. It is a good day too, yes it is. I'm so glad to be painting this one. Kyle! Thank you, Kyle. Sorry. Hope all is well your way. Yeah, things are pretty good. I mean, in the UK, we're obviously in our next lockdown. So I don't know if you're UK as well. Which is never easy. But a necessary step, I think. But we just try and be resilient and try and get through and do everything we can to help the situation. It does give you a bit more time at home, of course, to do painting, hobbying. Well, a bit more time, not loads, because it's got the kids. but yeah, hopefully everything's okay with you guys as well. Keeping safe, keeping well, keeping busy. I think that's important as well. Oh, you're in the States as well. Cool. Internet lag. That's actually like that. Hands as well. Got to try and get all of the skin colour done at once while I've got this colour out. You know what? She's looking just great, just with the one coat and this one colour. I know it takes up a lot of her miniature, but still. Oh, hang on! I've completely forgotten parts of her tentacles there for some reason. better. The only problem with doing these mixings is it's very hard to say what colours I've used. So before, when I've literally just used the paint from the pot, you can literally say, right, I used cyan yellow, or this, or this. Now it's kind of like a mix of the colours, and I do it by eye. It's not like exact measurements or anything like that. So I think, that is the only problem, I think, with doing it this way. But ultimately, people can just try their own combinations, just to give them ideas. So I suppose it'd be fine. Right, okay. So from that green, let's move on to, I think I go straight warp. So we're going to go straight warp lightning. Next, and we're going to be doing her kind of shoulder buds, I suppose, knee, the vines that go around her knees and her arms. I want it the same as the ground grass. So let's go for this. This is quite a nice. I'll tell you what. Also, holding this miniature and turning it around and everything feels really good because of the nature of the compactness of the miniature. No kind of like spikes or overhanging items. So it makes it nice to paint. Oh, hang on, I've done it wrong. I've just realised, I just looked at the art. These are not green. These are actually, that's going to be quite hard to get off. They're actually brown. They're kind of like the vine roots, I guess. That'll do. That'll be okay. So it starts here and goes up around. Then we've got some leaves. I think we've got a few more leaves compared to the art here. So certainly here. I would also say here as well. Man, how now we've got to try and get in there without ruining everything. And up through there. Oh, I've missed out. Oh, right, missed a bit. While I've seen it, I'm going to quickly grab some of this paint that I've still got. And I'm looking up here now, and I can see that I've missed a whole chunk of a leg. Inside there. Good. Okay. We should go inside there. Right. Actually, I think. That's brown anyway. That's brown anyway, not green. Never mind. Trying not to ruin the bits that I've already painted. Try my best not to anyway. Okay, the vines are brown, not green, except for around her arms. Well, it's a mix, isn't it? It's like some are green and some are brown. So what I'm actually going to do is going to put, I don't want them the same as the leaves, so I'm going to put a bit of this green with that colour that I made before, and hopefully we've now got everything. Soon find out, I guess. A bit more medium, just a tiny bit more medium, just to make it a little bit more. So one brush of medium. Cool. And now we're going to go in with the vines. So yeah, we got like so this one's. I wonder if that's too much medium. No, that's good. I wanted it more of a fainter green to distinguish between the leaves and those. Right, I think. Let's go for that arm, and then we will do the same on this side. So if we're looking at the art. These two. Which twirls its way around the arm like that, and then probably just finishes there. Then is the legs the same? Yep, it looks like it is. So going with these vines on the knee first of all. That one's brown. That one's. There's like loads of brown. Yeah, that's good. So the ones you can kind of see separately, sort of standing out, shall we say, are actually green. No, that's brown. Oops, just focusing a little bit on these as best I can. It's gone from lighter to darker as How's it going? Oh, that's okay. It's still different enough to the leaves to make a difference, which is good. I might just go in here. There we go. Okay. Yep, pretty happy with that. Now you see these vines going around the worm. They need to be the similar colour. So let's mix up some more. Potato milkshake. No worries. Spotted my stream. Cool. I'm not really sure how YouTube works, but if you're not a member of the Discord community for Super Fancy Brawl or a subscriber, I guess as my videos get a little bit more popular. Okay, cool. Saf. How's it going, Saf? So you saw it through the Discord, that's fine. I'm just wondering if people would see it through like YouTube just randomly searching or not. I don't think I'm that popular yet that it comes up on those yet. So a little bit of yellow to help that, and then of course the medium to make it better. So are you guys painting right now? Yeah, nice. I'm kind of glad I didn't paint Loralei as one of my first models, because I wouldn't have been doing any of the mixing, which I think is quite important for her, especially if you haven't got loads and loads of contrast paints, of course. So having that, okay, cool. Well, thanks for subscribing. I do appreciate that. As I mentioned at the start, of the stream, I just wanted to thank everyone who is supporting the channel. I really didn't think, and I'm only 200 subscribers, and I'm not massive, but it's good to see that people are finding it useful, interesting, whatever it might be. That's the most important thing. But it's great to see the channel kind of growing. See, such a cool model. This is coming out very well. To be honest, that's the beauty of painting, to be honest, is not being afraid to redo. As long as you haven't gone absolute nuts with really thick paint, you're not going to lose the details. You can literally just respray, reprime, and go back over it. Or, to be honest, you don't really need to reprime, do you? Normally, you'd have the right colours, and you can go over. It depends, I suppose, actually, because if you want to do contrasts again, you will have to reprime. But yeah, I mean, I done that for so many of my miniatures. What was the classic one I did that for? Was Imperial Assault. I got Imperial Assault, all the figures for that, and I started painting them when I first got the game. And at the time, I thought, they're good enough to go on the table. They look better than plastic. But then it was when I watched Sir Astro's tutorial, or like painting tutorial based on Imperial Assault, I thought, you know what, they're actually really terrible. I haven't really painted them well, so I went back over and I didn't respray them, I just restarted them. That wasn't with contrast though, that was just with traditional painting. And my god, am I so glad I did that. I'm really pleased with the with my Imperial Assault now. Now, if I had started Imperial Assault with when contrasts were out, and when I did that, I would have definitely gone down the contrast route. In fact, I did for the Stormtroopers. I re-primed them and went back over them with the Apothecary White, which is just like the perfect colour for... Oh, we've run out of the green. No, how much more have we got to do? Just that bit under there. I think we'll be okay, actually. We're slowly running out of this colour. In fact, we have run out of that colour. Oh no! Sod's Law, isn't it? It's just before you finished. Ah, there's a couple bits. Right, remix. Chris, have you got a big painting? The only problem with doing that, obviously, is what's your painting list like? That's way too much yellow. In terms of, have you got a lot to paint? Figures for different games or whatever? Because I always find that's the problem. Is I kind of want to, I don't want to have to repaint things because I've got a list of things I want to paint and that takes over from it. That's too green. I thought it might be not enough medium. It looked a bit thick. I love contrasts, Seth. I absolutely love them. And I mean, obviously, the more time you spend on a miniature, the better it will be. So, using contrasts, doing what I'm doing now, and then going over with layering afterwards with traditional paints will give you the best result. 100% the best result. But what I wanted to do was do something that wouldn't take ages and ages and ages. So that's why I've gone pretty much full contrast, apart from obviously the metal work. Which is... Oh, hang on, is that right? No, that wasn't... Oh, not paying attention. That's supposed to be... Again, it doesn't matter, it's going to be green, but it's not part of the vine. Oh, there's some vine there. Sorry, yeah, I love contrast, but again, it depends. If you're already painting and you've got loads and loads of traditional paints, it's going to be a big investment to get contrast paints. They're not cheap. They really aren't cheap. But you can do like I did and just get a few different colours first of all, and then just build up from there. Build your collection up, as it were. But in terms of speed, I mean, I don't think there's any question about that they're faster than traditional painting. I don't think you can argue against that. I mean, I've been painting these live and in real time, and you can quite clearly see. And the reason why I'm doing that is so you can quite clearly see how long it takes for me to paint a miniature. Whereas pretty much any other painting tutorial has got cuts where they've not really shown it live. And the main reason for that, of course, is because it does take a long time to paint a miniature. Well, don't get me wrong, I mean, the quality of their miniatures is better than mine. I'm not saying that at all. But I just feel that the real strength of contrast is the speed at which you can paint them with. And the effect they give. I really do like the effect they give. Yeah, a lot of people like Vallejo. Is that how you say it? I've seen a lot of people using Vallejo paint. I've always been a Citadel painter since I got like a really old set. And to be honest, this set was like, oh god, it must have been 8 to 10 years old, and the paints were fine. Apart from the white wasn't working, but apart from that, all the other paints were absolutely fine. I still use them today. So, you know, I'll give them that. Their paints do last. Whoa, I haven't joined it. Reprimed with Raceblend and airbrush. Yeah. Full contrast line. Full army paint on, so I have plenty of colours. Nice, Chris. Well, if you've got pretty much most of the contrast and you've got normal paints, then you're fine. Colours. Basic set of base and layer covering at least one of each colour and 3 or 4 shades. So not a huge collection, but no, that's a pretty decent collection actually, Seth. Yeah. But the best way I personally think contrasts work are there the base and wash and highlight with one coat, done properly. So you literally only have to put one coat in, and then you'll notice it's got kind of the wash. It does the highlight, especially if there's detail. If there's flat surfaces, it's terrible. So if I don't know what you play, but if you play and paint kind of like 40k or something with a tank, or it just won't work. Contrast will not work. It'll give a horrendous result. I tried it on a car about that big, and the panels, they just did not work at all. You get a lot of pooling, a lot of streak marks. It really doesn't work. But to be honest, if painting it normally, you've got to go through a lot of layers to get a nice even coat. Ultimately, the best form to paint with is airbrush. If you want to do flat surfaces, it's definitely airbrush. But for miniatures like this, with plenty of detail, yeah, contrast work, in my opinion, absolutely fantastically. Right, okay. Well, actually, this... This leaf armour. I'm going to do a kind of brown green. I think I might go in with some... Have we painted before I... Actually, let's keep going with the greens, because as I've got this mixed up, I might as well keep using it. Yeah, I think, paints are certainly just a personal preference. And to be honest, what you're used to. Once you get used to a brand, you'll normally stick with it. Oh, Bloodborne. Is that Simon, the Bloodborne game? Yeah, the Bloodborne. I don't know how well. Contrast should work well again. You'll just need a lot of the dark colours. So there's plenty of greys and blacks, and you can shade those together. Excuse me. But yeah, I love Black Templar. I think Black Templar for the contrast range is absolutely fantastic. It's kind of like a blue black, obviously to get the highlights. But in terms of like one coat for blacks, I really like it. Yeah, a lot of people are not keen with Dark Souls. Okay. Yeah, I think we've seen it, right? With I think that did pretty well as a Kickstarter, right? But obviously with Mythic Games and Darkest Dungeon, I think anyone who does IP, Horizon Zero Dawn, Assassin's Creed one that's coming out soonish, maybe. I think the IPs are always going to do well on Kickstarter, because they've got, as long as they get reasonably popular IPs, people are shouting for them, because you get a lot of board gamers who play video games as well. Yeah, I'm in terms of video games, I'm not a fan. I tried Bloodborne. I tried it as much as I could. Dark Souls, yeah, that definitely wouldn't be a game for me. But Bloodborne, I tried to, but I just didn't like the mechanic of redoing like parts. Very much a story-driven kind of, I guess you could argue linear style games. Things like The Last of Us, Tomb Raider, Horizon Zero Dawn. I quite like. They don't have Witcher 3. They don't have to be completely linear. But they're my kind of top games, as they were, the ones I enjoy playing the most. Kind of RPG style. Right, okay, let's move on to the green under. I think I'm going to put. I'm a bit of a quandary here. I'm trying to think for the worm, the dragon worm. Do we go a bit more greener? But not. I'm not sure if I want Loralei to blend in with the worm or to stand out from the worm. That's why I'm a bit of a quandary at the minute with. I think I'm going to do the worm slightly with a brown tinge. So I'm actually going to go in with Skeleton Horde, which is kind of like yellow, very light yellow. Yeah, not to try and plug hell, but I literally did a live stream. You may have seen it. I literally did a live stream in the last month, last few weeks really, playing through the Tabletop Simulator version that they've given out to demo, and I gotta be honest with you, I absolutely love hell, but it's right down my alley. It's a fully narrative game, much more narrative than there are other games, and it's Viking setting. Let me just look at this colour a minute. Yeah. No, right. Change my mind. So if you've got Tabletop Simulator, I would highly recommend just giving it a go. You can play it solo, and then that'll give you an inkling of whether it's the kind of game you want to go for. Obviously, your wallet makes a big difference. Can you afford it? As with so many Kickstarters, it can get a bit crazy. Yeah, I don't want it brown, but I want it a brown tinge. So I really like this for the underside, actually, of the worm. And then I'm going to go browner for the kind of covering. Oops. So this is kind of like a yellower green compared to... Right, how's that working? God, it's hard to... Yeah, and go back to hell. It's going to be Mythic Games miniatures, which is so cool. And yeah, they are. They're leaving the pledge menu open for ages, so there is no rush at all. So my biggest bit of advice is, Tabletop Simulator is a fantastic piece of software as well, especially as a lot of us can't meet up and game. It's brilliant for literally getting any game you would want to play and playing it with each other online or playing against people in different countries. I've used it. I used it before we were in lockdown, and it was. I really like the program. I think it's fantastic. Whoops. Just going to put some. Imagine there's some under there, but you can't see that. Let's use this same colour as well. Okay. Yep, that's good. Now let's go. No, basically what happened was I backed not well. It depends what you call a lot. Is a lot of Kickstarters. I went through a phase of backing one every month. Back in 2018, so it was like Joan of Arc, Black Rose Wars, Nemesis, Street Fighter the board game. Just trying to think of the big ones. Oh, I can't remember. I think that's it in terms of the big games. So not loads, and then a few smaller ones like mind blank now. Not Name in the Wind. The one that was linked to that. Call to Adventure. Really fantastic game. A card game where you kind of play. You create a character effectively, like in a fantasy setting, by doing different tasks. So you've got like a destiny and a kind of traits, but you do different abilities and stuff to show the story of your character and their life. It's so good. Really love that game. But anyway, a King Killer card game. Oh, hey, Chaos. Yeah, I won't go that far, but I certainly enjoy painting them. Actually, that brings me to a point. These are the miniatures I've had the most fun painting ever. Just the scale of them, the detail of them, the uniqueness of each of the characters just lends itself all to you just having a blast painting them. Really enjoy it. But yeah, so sorry, I was saying about the Kickstarters. So yeah, that all went ahead, and then effectively it was when Joan of Arc, about a year into, not even a year, I don't, was it? Yeah, no, about a year and a bit into Joan of Arc, I went into, we were part of this Discord community, the Mythic Games Discord community, and at that time they basically said UK Games Expo was coming up. And they said, does anyone want to come and demo at UK Games Expo? So they asked, they shouted out to the community. So I said, yeah, that sounds brilliant. And I went to UK Games Expo, did a bit of demoing with them, and then it just went on from then, really. So I'm really lucky that I can kind of do some demos for Mythic Games. I did at Spiel, the digital. I literally did 2 demos. That was it, just because of my commitments. But it's just really nice to help out the company and kind of be a demoer for them. So just based on that, and then the nature of demoing, you tend to get obviously credit. You tend to get paid by pledges and so forth. So I've got. So from all my demoing days, I've got like Solomon Kane, I've got Hell coming. I had Super Fancy Brawl, obviously this one coming. So it was really good because I really couldn't afford any more Kickstarters from that point. The one I'm looking at kickstarting next, which is on at the moment, is Nova Ateus, which is the Black Rose Wars Ludus Magnus Studios. Their next game. I've watched some playthroughs, and man, I do love the mechanics they've put into that game. I do like their miniatures, and it has crossover with Black Rose Wars, which is one of my favourite games. So, yeah, that's going to be a definite, I think, a definite back when I can afford it. So, usual $1 pledge in, and then wait for the pledge manager, and hopefully have a bit more money that I'll be able to afford to get it. So that's the plan. Right, let's get the brown in here, and let's try and get this top of this worm done. So I'm going slightly different to the art. You can see it's kind of like a green. In fact, it's very similar green to the buds that she's got, which would be the bright green. But I just think that will... I want it to blend into the background a little bit more. So, I think I will use Snakebite Leather as the... Oh, Acarus Dunes. I don't know. Oh, this is where I don't know. So, if I can find any of them. So I've got Acarus Dunes, which again is it more of a yellow colour, or Snakebite Leather. I think I'm going to go with Snakebite Leather. Yes, Wavelength. I've heard really good. Yeah, I haven't played it, but I've seen some fantastic reviews, and people love that game. And I do want more party games. I got Chronicles of Crime recently to try and get my wife into board games a little bit more. And yeah, oh, that's too much brown. We love it. Chronicles of Crime's are really nice, especially if you like that kind of crime detective style game. Yeah, Wavelength definitely is something I'm interested in. It's pretty cheap as well, I think, isn't it? 5 Minute Dungeon is by far the most... I've never even heard of 5 Minute Dungeon. Huh. Does it take 5 minutes? A really fun game is Magic Maze. I don't know if you played that. I don't know if that's like 5 Minute Dungeon. I'm not sure. Yeah, this is going to look quite... Actually, what am I doing? Stop. I just realised I don't want the head to be brown. I want the back of the tail to be brown. I'm going to go back to the greens for the head. So this is what's going to be brown. Or this kind of green ochre. Too much pulling there. So I suppose doing this live stream late, means that, you know, I can connect to you guys in America a little bit more, because it's a bit more of a realistic time that you can actually join the community. So that's cool. I mean, Chris usually comes on anyway, which I appreciate. I'll tell you what, chatting to people while you're painting is so much better than just painting on your own. I mean, I normally chuck on a video and then a YouTube video, usually a painting video or a battle report of a game or whatever, while I paint. But it's so much better chatting to people live with similar interests and like the games that you paint as well. What were you saying? Here we go. Yeah, definitely. Super Fancy Brawl. It just plays well for so many different age groups, so many different kind of like interests in board games. And it's quick. And if you want it to last a bit longer, you do like a few rounds. I think it's just a fantastic game. And then you said a round takes 5 minutes. The player can technically pause the clock at a cost. Oh, so it's like a real-time game. On them, and then all players need to play said combinations to advance to the next card. Okay, so you have 5 minutes to get through 20 challenges. Huh. Yeah, exactly. Chris, yeah. Warrior, get multiple... Right, I'm going to definitely check that out. Is it relatively cheap to buy? 5 Minute Dungeon. Ooh. a bit of pooling there. I guess it's not a massive box either. Amazing. 5-minute Cluedo. That's awesome. Oh. Okay, fair enough. If it's popular though, they will. I presume they'll print it. I hope. So I'll be able to grab a copy then, perhaps. It definitely sounds like something I might be interested in, though. Oops. This is a bit compact. But again, even if I get it over the vines, it's, we're talking about vines. They're quite naturally going to have bits of brown on them and different shades of green. They won't just be one colour anyway, so I'm not really too fussed if I go over bits of that. What's that? Oh, I've missed a bit. I've missed a vine. Oops. Yeah, I think this colour will work as a bit of a difference. See, Chaos, that's one thing I've not got into yet, which I think I'd absolutely love, is all the escape games. I mean, there's so many of them. Yeah, I do need to try them. I absolutely loved Time Stories, like most people, until kind of like the third or fourth expansion. The original one in the box was I just absolutely loved. And that was like solving puzzles and kind of working through it that way. But yeah, escape rooms, yeah. I will probably get into those at some point, I'm sure. How am I supposed to get my brush in there? I just cannot wait to have all of them painted. have them all next to each other. Pretty epic. SFB, that is. Okay. So glaring emissions, is there? Oh, yep. Nearly. I don't think that's this colour. I would say that's the... no, it is. It's the other colour. Right, never mind. Right, how to... Kung Fu Panda. Escape room miniatures. Okay. I presume it's based on the cartoon, right? Kung Fu Panda cartoon with Jack Black. Yeah, I gotta be honest, I do really like mixing the colours and getting back to your normal traditional painting. Right, let's see how good I am at getting the same colour. Needs more contrast. Medium. Also, I use this on that random mist. Okay, it's not too bad. Looks a bit too similar to the vines, but that's fine. Actually, I've also missed over the back there. Okay, cool. Right, so next... Interesting. More things to look at. I think that 5-minute dungeon is the first one to have a proper look at. That sounds right up my street. Right, where is Wildwood? Wildwood is next. Let's get some browns onto Loralei. It's going to just be straight. So we're looking at the armory kind of bits, I guess. Just being a little bit more careful with this because obviously it's a darker tone. Don't want to go over the bits I've already painted. Now, the difference here is this is brown and this. Trying to look at the art. It looks like this. Well, that's definitely. Ooh, that's. Got to try and get in there now. I should probably use a smaller brush. The brown. It looks like there's brown there, but. Oh no. So if we just do brown up to that point there. I might just do brown going into there. Let's keep the brown going around there and then And up through this fine. And the same for this one. Just going to do some brown round here like that. God, it's just trying to visualize what's brown and what's not. Okay, I think so this is brown. There's a bit of brown here. This is brown. That's brown going up to there. And then brown going all the way around there and here. Ah, no, I didn't want to do that. Did not want to do that. That's better. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Now the arms and also, God, trying to see the leg, neck, shoulder parts. There we go. Oh, hang on. It's 5 Minute Marvel as well. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if more minis to paint is a winner. With the stuff that I'm getting through, I'm going to be painting for literally years. But you are right, that's pretty cool. But with an escape game, is it got any replayability? Because painting up loads of models and then not being able to play with them, so it's kind of like, and then you've kind of finished. Seems a bit. There's a different amount. There she is. Come along. Right, so we've got kind of a very dark green for her kind of armour, leaf armour. I think I'm naturally going to use the same green on here as her armour. Yeah, I made that decision straight away. So, let's go with this green. Let's carry on this green, but we want to make it darker. I think I might, you know what, I might try put Basilicanum Grey. Wherever it's gone. Yeah, I might try some Basilicanum Grey and see what happens. Whoa. Nice. I think that will. Let's have a look. Yep, pretty happy with that, I think. Yep, that's good. Happy with that. Also, if you're going to paint, I was just thinking, if you're going to paint Bloodborne miniatures with contrast, you might want to go with like a grey seer as an undercoat rather than a Rathbone, which will give a darker tone of colour just naturally anyway. And that's the beauty of contrast. I think that's the point of contrast, is you choose the undercoat, which ultimately decides on the type of tone of the colours that you're going to put on. So you could go really bright. If you want to go really bright, you go with Corax White. If you want to kind of warm colours, you go with Wraithbone. And if you want a slightly duller tone of colour, you go with Grey Seer. I don't know if anyone's tried contrast with Nun Citadel. I mean, I have Nun Citadel primers, but out of my experience, I've done it with white and grey. And in my experience, like I did Zenithal highlighting, and I did the contrast over that, and it wasn't anywhere near as good. Just gonna fill any blanks that might be there. Okay. Let's go the same for this head. Missed out a bit there, that doesn't matter. Yeah, these SFB miniatures are certainly fun to paint. And I love the fact the detail is so strong on them. It just enables you to just let the paint do the work, basically. Will this paint last? But I can't see because of the camera. Yeah, cool. Oh, she's got some fantastic details on her. Okay, let's go straight in with the Basilican Grey. Yes, Basilican Grey Thorns from her head. So looking at the thorns there. They're a surefire Basilican Grey. Basilicanum Grey. Yeah, I know, I agree. And also, I don't know if you noticed this, but when you spray with Wraithbone, it kind of... It's not Zenithal, admittedly, but it kind of gives you that kind of different shades, natural kind of shade as well. So it's yeah, no, Wraithbone. I absolutely love Wraithbone. Yeah, yeah. It's going to take a while. This will take a little while. Oop. Oops. I first tried contrasts out. When they first came out, I went to my local Warhammer shop, and they were just giving, like, not giving, sorry, they were letting people just try it with just these random Space Marine models. And as soon as I tried it, I was like, what? Is this actually happening? When it started to dry, and you got that kind of highlight and wash effect with one coat, I was like, that is crazy. That is crazy. And that's when I said it to the board game group, and we're like, oh, I'm really keen to start these, but you know, it's going to cost a fair amount. So yeah, I was very lucky to get these paints as presents to start me off. yes, I've painted the tokens. I've painted all my tokens with contrasts. That took a little while. I'm not going to lie, because it's quite fine detail, really. When you've been painting these relatively massive miniatures, and then you go to tokens, I found them a little bit. I mean, they're fine, but you got quite a lot of them, so it's that repetitive nature, which I'm not a massive fan of. You know, when you think about Zombicide and stuff like that, I got massive darkness. I love painting all the characters and stuff, and then when I got to the minions, I was doing the same pose over and over again, which is why I love SFB, because they're completely unique. It just keeps it more interesting, and you don't have that fatigue. But we're definitely seeing more and more. The bigger board games miniatures tend to be quite unique, and you know, that's really cool. That's going to keep the painting fresh and interesting. When I finish these thorns, I'll grab the tokens out and I'll show you. Oops. That's... Yep. Yeah, right, the primers, yeah. Contrast, what's the usual order? In terms of applying them, light to dark shade, that's what I tend to do. As I've mentioned on some previous videos, a little bit like watercolour paint. So start with the light shades, because then if you go over a bit that you need to put the darker shade on the darker colour, then you can literally go over it with that darker colour and it'll be fine, whereas you can't do it the other way. If I went with brown first and I got some of that brown on the lighter tone, I would have to re-prime that part with the base colour. No, that's I don't use shade. So contrast it's a one coat paint. So you literally, this is going to be it. So I won't need to put any washes on, any highlights. This will be done. Now, as I said, if you want to take it to the next level, you could go in there with some watered down paint and traditional paint and just layer it up to give those extra highlights, but you don't need to. So with contrast paints, I would say you do light shades and then go to the darker shades afterwards, just so you can go over any bits that you perhaps have gone slightly over. It does mean that when you're doing contrast paints, you've got to be really careful as you paint through, and try not to get it over certain parts, because that will make it like I've done there. So for example, I've got a bit of Basilican grey on that part of the miniature. So now I've got a couple of choices. I can just leave it. What I can't do is just get like the white, splodge it over here, and then get the paint and go over it, because just like felt paints, felt paints, felt pens. Once you've gone over it once and you've let it dry, if you go over again and try and get to that mark, it goes over it and it gives it a darker shade. So it'll be a bigger mistake if I literally go over that. I'm pretty happy with a dot for now. Use on the dark. Yeah. I mean, it's all practice. All painting is just practice makes it better. You get better and better as you practice more and more. So, yeah, why not? Okay, we need to do some yellow eyes. So, Iamden yellow straight from the tub. And I'm going to do the same for the worm, dragon worm, whatever it is. Oh yeah, I was going to show the tokens, wasn't I? Yeah, let me show you the tokens. I did not do a video for that one. Okay. Whoop. So, these are the wound tokens. So, what I might do on this is put some ard coat onto the blood parts of these anyway. But it was just going over with lead belcher and then Iamden yellow for the gold. Blood angels red for the blood droplets themselves, and then basilica grey onto the background. These were done slightly different. You can see they're different tones. I did two different ways. I used a gold. I think I did a black undercoat, then lead belcher, like a thick, kind of like quite a thick dry brush, then the gold dry brushed on top of that to give the trophies, and then just contrast paints for the rest of it. Then the trap hexes, just lead belcher with basilican grey, agarus dunes for the background, and then similar kind of painting for the other side, like that. And first player marker as well. Is that all? Oh, and then the cores done with a bit of ard coat in the gem part. I haven't done anything to the back of them yet, but it's quite clear if you've used them or not, I think. Yeah, I you know, if you get the Kickstarter deluxe tokens, you know, you want to be using them. They're so, as you say, it's so pretty. Wraithbone spray for everything. It means that you get through a couple of cans. Well, saying that, perhaps I didn't. I probably used, maybe it used a can for the whole of SFB. I might be completely wrong there. I can't even remember if I started in a fresh can or if I started with a half can. I don't know what I started with. But I certainly had to buy a new can to spray the rest of this stuff. So, yeah, Wraithbone spray. I genuinely believe that's the best primer for contrast paints. It just gives you the best kind of colour for your miniatures. Unless you, like I said, unless you don't want them to be quite vivid. If you want them to be really dull, I guess a grey sea would be quite good. Ah, you got an airbrush. Wow, yeah. If you got an airbrush, then yeah, you could prime. And I know a lot of people prime with airbrushes to give that a lot more control than a spray can, admittedly. And it would be cheaper. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, that would be cheaper than buying the spray cans. But I don't have an airbrush. It might be a new investment, maybe Christmas time. I do quite like the idea of getting into that. And I'm getting Joan of Arc, all of Joan of Arc, when it gets delivered. So all the Siege, the bigger monsters. So I would quite like an airbrush for when that arrives. Okay, I just need to do a black line, so black Templar for the eyebrows. Ooh, no, we're not going to go at black Templar. I'm going to go with Basilican and Grey. And also for her lips, she's not got a mouth open, well maybe a tiny bit, so we might just put a dab of white. Go into my 000 brush for this. A bit more control. What are we on time-wise? We're not in 2 hours yet, so she's been relatively quick. And that's with chatting as well. The eyebrow doesn't seem right. It's fine. Okay, so now she's got some detail on the face. And we can do with doing this on the fingernails as well, so let's do that. Yeah, there's been some talk on Discord about the fact, yeah, you're absolutely right, a rattle can give you really bad results if you have extreme temperatures. So yeah, fair play. Yeah, that's a really fair point. I'm just in the UK, so we get average temperatures, average weather. It is seasonal, and sometimes you can't. I mean, if it's raining, there's not much you can do. You can't go outside, and I go outside and spray basically. I've gone way too over that one. Hang on a minute. I'm not happy with that thumb on her left hand. No, where is it? It's very hard to tell. Actually, I think that was right. It's on. Looking at the reference, I think it is up to about there. And this one needs to go a bit higher as well. Okay. So I think, other than the wildwood into that knee pad, it's when you start finishing that you realise, I've missed a little bit. That's better. Just after 1 o'clock in the morning here in the UK, so a bit of a later stream. But I've been gifted a line from the missus, so might as well utilise it. Awesome. So I would say that's Loralei done herself. We now need to do the base, which should blend into the miniature as well. That is very true. Winter is the better time to stay in and paint. You're absolutely right, Chris. So that's a really valid point. And you know, as it starts to get colder here as well, the rattle spray is not going to work as well. So they're really good. I find the Rathbone really good, and it can seem to work in quite a range of temperatures. But yeah, no, you can get some adverse effects happening. All right, where's my Agaros? So Agaros Dunes, Warp Lightning. What I've used for pretty much all the bases that I've used so far. I'm just looking a second. I'm seeing stone. So we're going to use Basilicanum Grey as well. So let's go with Agaros Dunes first. And we'll see if we can do this in 2 minutes. 2 hours. Which will be the quickest of the SFB miniatures I've painted. Because I usually do 2 hours for my live stream. About. I'll tell you what, I'd be really pleased that this has been. I should touch wood. This has been stable. Because I've got it on 1080p, and I was a bit worried that it would start breaking again like it has done in the past. And it hasn't yet. So fingers crossed. We get to the end. I think that's a rock, isn't it? Yeah. Well, that's the stuff I've got to get in now. Let's have a look. Let's try and get a fair amount of paint in there. Just try and move it around. That's the only bind with pre-assembled miniatures. They can have hard to get to slots. Okay, that's good for the Agaros Dunes. Maybe just a bit up in there. Okay. Now the only problem is we're going to have to wait for it to paint a little bit. Paint a little bit? Dry a little bit. It's getting late. So I think I'll go in now with. I'll be alright. Doesn't matter for a little bit of a blend. So a bit of Basilicanum Grey for the stone. We've got a bit of stone around. Is that all stone? No, there's some grass. Kind of like clumped. Say this is probably well yeah. That can all be green. That can be green after this bit. Oops. Ah! That's okay. Okay, that's the stone done. You should never do this, by the way. You should wait for the one colour to dry before you go in with the other, unless you want to blend it. But I want to get it done. Hence my eagerness to. The camera mount's just low enough to hit my brush at certain angles. A bit of grass, I think so. Oh. Dee-dee-dee. Just looking on the very inside, right at the bottom, in the middle of this miniature, there's a bit of stonework which is going to be extremely hard to get to. Don't have to just leave it. I'm looking inside there. I think it's, to be honest, it's not got much prime on it, and it looks like stone anyway. I think we're okay just to leave it. And that, oh, hang on. That is Loralei complete. Oh, what have I done? Oh dear. I seem to have, whoops. I seem to have got some green on his face, and I think that has dried. Oh, that's a bit of a shame. That's not too bad actually. What I can do, I mean, we'll have to mix the colour up again. So yeah, if you do something like that, because you're painting on wet paint, being a bit of an idiot, just get some watered down base, Wraithbone, and paint the particular area you want to, the whole area you want to go over. Because as I said, it won't look right if you just do it. If you just do a spot of it. So you see there, I've painted the 3 areas that mistake was over. Then you can go over with the contrast paint, and you know you're not going to get a terrible result. Whoops. Have I got time? Yeah, I think I've got time just to mix. Mind you, is it going to dry in time? Probably not. No, I'm going to leave it there. I will finish off that face of the... that looks quite cool, actually. And this is what I mean. If you got some traditional paints and started layering up these scales, these kind of like leaf scales, you can make this look super amazing. The flowers, sorry, you could highlight those up a little bit. Obviously the vines, I mean everything. You could highlight everything up, and it would go to the next level. But in terms of, for a quick result, well, relatively quick result that is ready for the tabletop, it's going to look pretty good on there. Yeah, just using contrast only, I feel is... Oh, missed a green spot. And no metal. No metal for once. Oh, that's the thing that sped this paint job up, was the fact there was no metal. Of course. Didn't even think of that. It's not because it was less intricate or anything like that. It is literally because, of course, no metal to paint. Yeah, Seth, there's I really do like them. I mean, I've painted Blood Rage miniatures with them, and they're a bit darker in terms of theme, but yeah, they came out fantastic because there's so much fur and skin on those models, and the Guilliman flesh and the Wildwood, or you can actually get fur. Chris was talking about the fur contrast, the brown snakebite leather. Using all of those, it comes out so good. Yeah, this is it. This is it. It is a big investment. There's no two ways about it. To get into contrast paints, if you've got traditional paints, it is an expense. It is an investment, and it'd be something I would say you just slowly get into. Oh God, have I got it on there as well? I've got a little bit of green on his chin as well. It's all right though. That's not too noticeable. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Be a bit of a shame not to have the characters painted. I mean, you could always go traditional paints for the characters as well, but you know, I've done. Who have I got left actually? Got Taze, Loralei, not Loralei, Kalel. I think, is that it? Let me think. Let me have a little look. Kalel. Oh yeah, and Shazal. But good news on that front. My replacement Shazal has been delivered at the moment. So it seems like Meeple Logistics, which is the EU logistics deliverer for Super Fancy Brawl, they've been really good. Absolutely fantastic. You send like a photo of mine was missing an arm, of the problem, and then they'll send a replacement. So I should hopefully be getting Shuzhou in the next week or so, which will be brilliant, because he was one I really wanted to paint up as well. I'm really looking forward to painting up. So yeah, Shuzhou. Yeah, to be honest, the Nevermore's the dragon bird, skeleton bird. That, I think that was pretty much, you know, when you get stress on when you put stress on a piece of plastic, which is quite thin, you get that kind of that lighter color coming through. Mine had that, so I'm very aware that Nevermore's bird is quite weak in terms of the connection. Which is really quite rare for these miniatures, because one of the massive positives of these miniatures is how sturdy they are. They haven't really got flimsy parts, which is so good for miniatures that you're literally moving around a lot. But his small dragon bird is something, yeah, I'm not sure how long that will last, but we'll find out. But yeah, they seem to be right on top of it, which is brilliant. So I do appreciate that. I mean, it's never nice to get something that's not right with your delivery, but if they can sort it quickly, then that's not a bad thing. Awesome, right? Thank you all for coming to join the live stream and chat along about board games and painting. As I say, I haven't got many of these miniatures left. The next thing I'll be probably painting up is the Games Workshop dwarves. I think that'll be my next paint job, and then it'll be Black Rose Wars Sator box, which I cannot wait to receive. Hopefully, relatively soon. When did it dock? It docked on I want to say the 27th of October. So you're really looking for about 4 to 6 weeks, probably, for things. Well, 4 weeks. I would say 4 weeks from when it docks to logistic companies sorting it all out, especially with the traffic that a lot of these delivery companies have got at the moment in our current situation. So fingers crossed that's coming very soon. I will do a live unboxing. And then I will do, I'm painting some miniatures. I will do some playthroughs. So all that's coming on. I'm currently just doing the kind of design element, I guess you can call it, just smarten up the solo mode for Super Fancy Brawl. So I'm pretty happy to send it through to the Discord community and for them to give it a go and see how bad it is in terms of balance. But or how terrible it is as a game mode. But that's ready to go. I'm pretty happy with the mechanics that I've put into place and the balance of the core 6 characters. So that I'll be releasing that hopefully in the next week. Just need to, like I said, just need to smarten up rather than this and just releasing that as a picture. I'm doing a little bit more of a clearer version. So hopefully that will come through within the next week, and then people can try Super Fancy Brawl solo and see how that goes. Cool. Okay. Right. Thanks for watching, guys. I will hopefully see you next time for another painting session of Super Fancy Brawl for the remaining figures, maybe some playthroughs and unboxings and all the rest of it. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe as per normal, and I will see you next time. See you for now.